Before you queue into your next match, make sure you know these basics about the three main elements: movement, combat, and game flow. Getting past that first barrier of learning the basics will boost how fast you're improving tremendously. This guide is aimed at very new players, something like fewer than 10 hours of gameplay. I'll include some tips on combat, but this is not a combat specific guide. There are 4 basic movement techniques that you should essentially be using all of the time, in combat or not. There is some more advanced movement tech, but for simplicity's sake, if you're a brand new player, this is fine for now. These things are scale rushes, slide jumps, dodge cancels, and grappling. A scale rush can be performed off of any ceiling, wall, or certain outcroppings on rooftops. Just jump onto whatever you want to scale rush off of, and press your horizontal attack button to kick off in whatever direction you're aiming. The burst of speed is useful when trying to evade or aggress an opponent, and it just helps you be a little less predictable while you're being pursued. Slide jumps and dodge cancels are 2 things that you should basically never not be using while running from place to place, since it's simply faster than sprinting. Slide jumps are pretty straightforward: crouch while sprinting to start sliding, and immediately jump out of it to cancel the rest of the animation. This doesn't consume any stamina, so there's zero downside to doing this really. When you hold dodge, you'll get a burst of speed and start sprinting, but if you press the dodge button again while already sprinting, you'll just do a roll. If you want to get that speed boost again, you'll first have to charge up an attack. Usually a vertical attack is better, and cancel it immediately by holding your sprint button briefly. This does consume stamina, so a good thing to do for general movement is to mix up dodge cancels and slide jumps. Charge and cancel a few times, slide jump a few times, repeat. The only tip I really have for grappling is that if you want to get the most distance out of your grapple, always be sure to horizontal attack mid-air. It lets you fly way past where you aimed your grapple hook. As far as combat goes, I'm definitely of the opinion that it's all about practice. There's only so much you can learn from a beginner guide. I'll go over 2 of the basic mix-ups though. You see these all the time, and they basically revolve around the fact that the third attack in any chain will be a focus attack, which is parryable. Someone can very easily parry that chain focus attack, since all they have to do is start spamming parry once they're being staggered by your first 2 attacks. After you land your first light attack, you can light attack again since it's guaranteed to land, and instead of flowing right into that focus attack, cancel your chain with a crouch and re-enter the double light attack chain. Another mix-up of the same idea would be to land those first 2 lights, and instead of tapping your third attack, hold the button down to charge your focus and delay it to bait them into parrying too early. A lot of other combos can stem from this type of mind gaming your opponent, and my recommendation would be to watch individual guides on the weapons you're liking to learn more about how to get the most out of them. At high level play, it becomes really important to be good at the neutral game, which mostly revolves around charging your focus as much as you can to avoid stagger, and looking for safe opportunities to let your focus attack go, cancel it into a parry, or start a combo chain off of a normal attack. Really vague, I know, but you'll just have to spend some time watching the high level players do their thing before you can start practicing it. Alright, so finally coming back to that term of game flow, what it refers to is essentially your list of priorities as the game progresses. Starting with the pregame, when you're picking your drop point, look for one of the gold zones and spawn nearby other players. While this doesn't necessarily give you the best chance at the longest survival time, when you're a new player, that's not what you should care about. You don't get better by wandering around the map and opening troves, you get better by taking fights. So pick that gold zone drop point and make getting a melee weapon your first priority after dropping. Without a weapon, you've got no damage and no way to parry, so it's a must-have before engaging in any fight. You could take a fight at that point, but the smart thing to do is hunt for at least white armor, preferably blue. Then you can comfortably seek out a fight if there's someone nearby, keeping in mind that you do have your free respawn, so this is the time to play aggressive. If there aren't any players nearby, feel free to keep taking advantage of that high loot zone and collect all that you can. Keep an eye out for item bag and soul jade slots in particular, but when you inevitably haven't unlocked all of your slots after looting the area, that's when you should look for a quest to take. Whether it's a bounty or one of the others, they give you quite a few Dark Tide coins that you can use to purchase extra slots. Once you've completed a quest or 2 and have your inventory slots unlocked, the first circle is probably on the move in, which means the first round of Morris's blessings are on their way. Keep an eye out for the gold rings on the map. They signify when and where a blessing is going to spawn. These are guaranteed to have epic rarity armor in them, which you should absolutely seek out if your early game didn't reward you with any. You can also restock on heals and grapples, and even grab a weapon or soul jades. Ideally, you want your loadout to look something like this, with plenty of shield powder and grapples, as well as Vitalia and repair kits. For the most part, you want to have defensive Soul Jades, since it will allow you to make a few more mistakes, and as a new player, you want as wide a margin of error as possible. If you don't have that stacked inventory quite yet, keep going about your general looting and taking quests when you see them. Now that you're going into late game, your Dark Tide coins should be spent on lucky Soul Jades in the shop. If you score something for your weapon, read the description and see how it could potentially be put to use. There are a ton of Soul Jades in this game, so it's going to take you quite a while to learn which ones are best, and that's totally fine. The last big upgrade you can seek is Gold Armor, which is guaranteed to spawn in Morris Blessings once you're at the point that only one drops per circle. With fewer than 10 players left, you'll want to play a lot more carefully and use your ultimate somewhat sparingly, since having it up for that final 1v1 is extremely useful. Keep in mind that in any fight you've encountered up to this point, it's totally okay to have ran away from it. If a fight is going badly and it's starting to look bleak, using your ultimate or the movement tech to escape is totally fair play. Escaping from and chasing down opponents are elements of skill in this game, so you definitely don't always have to stubbornly fight someone to your death. Even in that final 1v1, if you're low HP and at the disadvantage, getting some distance and squeezing in a heal or two can be a great idea. Use whatever skill and experience you have that can help you win that fight, and if you don't win it, then whatever. Learn from that loss and play it differently the next time around. If you find yourself only making it through about half of this rough game flow, practicing in bot mode is totally fine too, just to help you get the basics down. I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments, so don't hold back if you're wondering anything at all. Naraka's a blast once you get the hang of it, so just be patient, and hopefully I'll see you in a game one day. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.